and a warm welcome to you wherever it is you are joining us from around the world. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you right here from Enterprise Television from the economic capital of Nigeria, Lagos. I am Henry Wibike. We'll be starting off today with our newspapers just to peruse through and see what we have. And right after that, in a jiffy would be our main conversation also for today. Please do well to be part of what we do have a say in what we say. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment and follow us on all our social media platforms today on Enterprise TV 7. We're very so honored to have with us right here in our studios Barrister Evans Ofeli, Barrister at Law, Public Affairs Analyst. Good morning to you, Barrister.
Good morning.
And thank you so very much for coming in. And now let's start off today with what we have from our first daily, and that is the Punch newspaper for today. We have the big story: 20 governors under fire for delaying 70,000 naira minimum wage. And the states that on the reference here is Zamfara, Cross River, Abure, others, of course, that are yet to get or make the minimum wage available to its workers. But let's take a look at our talking point for today. 2027 coalition pushes for a single-term candidate, and the image that we have there is no other person but Atiku Abubakar. Now, do you think Atiku Abubakar is so desperate that for him, even if it's a 2-year one term, is enough for him, but he just wants to have a test of the pudding?
He just wants to be named as a president. He's been on it for so long. And the problem with people like that who just want to be president is that they are always not ready for the tax.
Really?
Yes, because Atiku doesn't look like someone who is ready for the tax. He's rather concerned and obsessed with the position, okay, just so that he can be catalogued as a past president. That's really what Atiku is about. Because if not, look at his age. You hardly find Atiku in meetings where they are talking about an alternative to the crop of politicians we've had. You hardly find Atiku where they are talking about technocrats leading the country, or parties resolving to give their ticket to a technocrat or someone who have been in business, someone who have had maybe world institutions and the rest of that. You can find Atiku there. He wants to become the president, okay? And he doesn't look like someone who have really articulated what it takes to be presidential and what it takes to discharge that function. It doesn't look. So
you mean from the 1993 struggle that he has been very part of, he would have been the one with the ticket of the SDP until, of course, he was dissuaded to step down for Moshood Abiola.
Yes.
So you're saying that from then up until now, that you feel he has no leadership dexterity to make Nigeria what we all want Nigeria to be?
Between that time till now, he became the vice president of Nigeria, okay, under Obasanjo. So what exactly were the things he did that stood out? He was the coordinator of the economy throughout the term. Okay, what in particular? Is it the privatization of federal assets? Okay, and after the privatization of those federal assets, what were the returns in investment? Okay, those are questions. How did he manage the economy under Obasanjo? The economy was better off than what it is today. But that is not to say that he made an outstanding stride or he stood out in any sphere. There's nothing outstanding about Atiku, and I think it's just part of the old guard that will not make any difference. Yes, there's nothing radical about him that will bring forth change. I mean, some persons might say I'm prejudging him, but I have a justification to do so. He has been given an opportunity to, but how be it that I was a vice president?
So
he didn't do anything outstanding.
Muhammad Buhari would have been better than him, as much as we do not value what Muhammad Buhari has done for the last 8 years he was there.
Well, I don't know how to even compare them, because most times when every election cycle, we are presented with sometimes very difficult choices to make. Okay, our options are very limited. The only time where our option gained some credibility was when P2B joined the race not too long ago. First with Atiku, and then the second was when he stood for the Labour Party, candidacy, the flagship of the, and all that. Yes. So, Atiku is not, in my estimation, okay, the material that is required to make a turnaround in this country. It's not because, first, he's very old, okay? He's very old. Second, I don't think he's in 78. Touch. Yes, I don't think he's in touch with. I don't think he's in touch with reality that much. He should be in his retirement. He should be doing something else. Maybe become the proper elder statesman that will be shopping for a young, vibrant person who would lead the country. You see, he's not altruistic. If he were, him, Obasanjo, all they call them a council of state. Is it council of state? Yes, the past presidents, yes. Past president, past attorney generals of the federation, or they have a cadre, they should be the ones that will come together and be shopping for talents that will deliver. But you see him perpetrating himself. He is still talking about how he's going to contest the next election. And it is mind-boggling, because at the end of the day, you now ask yourself, where is this one leading us to? Has he led himself? I mean, this is a digital age. Where's Atiku? Whose country is Atiku going to lead in the digital age? So I don't see him as someone who can deliver on the promises of democracy. I doubt he can't deliver.
All right. PDP card-carrying members might differ on this particular issue, because they've often stated that Atiku Abubakar has the rights. And let's test him and see if all that we have argued against.
How long are we going to test him? At the expense of who? So that experiment is too expensive. We use Buhari to test. We use Jonathan to test. We use everybody to test. In this testing, we have spent 30 years.
Very true. All right, so let's take a look at the Vanguard newspaper for today. Muftwang Plateau attack genocidal as Khan, ACE, other condemn killing by Vansoveli. It took so much from Nigerians, especially when they juxtaposed the killing of the 16 in Urumi, and asking the federal government, the same might you used against fishing out the people who committed the crime of the 16 hunters, why not apply it to Plateau State then? And that was only when the federal government thought it, okay, let's see what happened in Plateau State. Do you think that the middle belt, especially Plateau, has been neglected?
Plateau has been a victim of circumstance, okay? The crisis, really, you cannot tell what exactly is the cause of the crisis in Jos. I'm telling you. In Plateau State, there are different versions. Some say that it's land grabbers. Some say it's insurgency. Some say it's politics. Some have said it's, you always have one excuse or the other, one thing to point to as a factor that is instigating the crisis, okay? But the crisis is one thing, the response, okay? The response to arrest and to quelling such crisis is very limited. Sometimes it's not there at all, okay? When offenses are committed, like you said, the speed with which the federal government went about the Edo killing, you understand? Apply the same to Plateau. In Plateau's case, there have been killings over and over and over again. We have lost count. From Miango to
Barkinladi, to Mangu,
to Bokos, yes. To everywhere in that. Just Plateau has suffered the highest level of devastation in the whole country. We're talking about Agatu. Agatu has not seen half of what Plateau has seen. Okay? They have not seen that. So, I mean, by now, the federal government should have declared a state of emergency, proper one in Plateau State.
Yes, because that's actually what the next people will be looking at. There is this proposal and yearning for a state of emergency. But some people would say, why would it be only the PDP states? Because if we're talking about state of emergency, Plateau is still yet another PDP state. Is it necessary?
But, well, no, if the state of emergency is to quell crisis, it doesn't matter the political party that's heading the state. The center cannot hold. That's why I say it should be a proper state of emergency. It should not be the one that is vendetta, that the president is playing politics with the constitution and be suspending governors. No. In the case of that reference, a state of emergency should be declared. No governor should be suspended. Deploy the army. Empty the army into Plateau State. Let them ransack the forest everywhere. Okay, let them put an end to this thing once and for all. After that, you have a battalion there. You have which of the barracks? There's a barrack. There's one of the very popular barracks that's there. Yeah. So you can put an end to insecurity using the army to do so. And that is the right kind of state of emergency that I expect from the president, so that the insecurity issue there will be curbed, will be nipped in the bud, and proper surveillance will be instilled as a follow-up to ensure that peace is restored in that state.
Very true. But let's take a look at other very sensitive matters here. Cybercrime Act, emergency rule protest, anxiety as police organizers differ. And we have the image of the IGP Showere and the man in charge of the Take It Back movement. There is the April 7th, yes, is the day. And Nigerian police are literally begging that it's not necessary, especially the time. I do not know what is wrong with that time, but the Nigerian police are saying that that time is not good enough for a nationwide protest.
Yeah, because the police have used the Cybercrime Act to winch hunt people a lot. That's section 24. They have given it a very bad interpretation. They have been arresting people on the basis of that. People are arrested for talking. People are arrested for criticizing the president. People are arrested for writing on the social media, and you know, some of them are arrested and they are never seen again. All in the name of the Cybercrime Act.
But is it not what that act is supposed to do with respect to how it is written in the Constitution and the consequence of whoever violates that?
No, it's not even a constitutional matter. It's an act itself. It's an act of Parliament. Cybercrime Act 2015 was signed by
Goodluck Jonathan.
Yes, 2015 with the AJA, Administration of Criminal Justice Act. They are both 2015. Now, the intentment of the lawmakers is not that criticism is stifled. The intention is that those who use the cyber space, okay, intentionally and willingly to express falsehood, to create tension, to bully people, to cyber stalk people. Criticism, talking about the ills of society, the failings of government. It's not cyberbullying. If I'm ranting I'm criticizing the government, it's not bullying, it's criticism.
So how can we differentiate both when it's bullying and criticism?
There's a thin line in it. But what the police now do is to frame everybody into one box. Once you say anything about government, they arrest you and charge you under the Cybercrime Act. They call it that you are cyberbullying, you are cyber stalking, you are so whatsoever. So this protest is important. Yes, this protest is important, and more importantly, someone will need to go to court to ask the federal government to interpret section 24 of the Cybercrime Act as it relates to criticizing government at all levels.
Yes, because I wanted to ask you this: whose responsibility is it to finally define this thing so that
it is the court.
People would understand their limits?
It is the court.
And why do you think they've not done this all the while?
A case has not been filed. the court will not file a case by itself. Somebody will have to go to court, and that is perhaps what I should do right now. Bring that action, you know, to let the court interpret truly the whole of that section. If truly it means that once you criticize government, you should be arrested and prosecuted, then the court should scrap out Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act, because it's contrary to the Constitution. And
that section, what has it got?
Section 24?
Yes, what is it saying?
Section 24 lists out every issue, okay, that you will use the Cybercrime Act to, you will use the cyberspace to do that constitute an offense. One, if you use it to send falsehood, rumors, okay, that people act on, and people act on it and they turn out that it was false, it's an offense, okay? If you use it to send messages that lead to anything that has to do with, that will lead to riots, or that will lead to tension, insurrection, and it turns out to be false. If you use it to cyber stalk, if you use it to bully people.
And what's that cyber stalking? Is it following up on a criticism against someone continuously when you know it is factual? Could that be considered as cyber stalking?
No, when you keep on making utterances and criticism on an issue that turns out to be false. Falsehood. Okay, for example, now if you come out and say that the federal government or the National Assembly, okay, has shared 8 billion. Okay, you don't have any proof, you don't have any facts, you don't have any, and if at the end of the day it's false, that nothing like that actually happened, that's the cyber stalking. If it is true, that's fair comment.
Okay.
Yeah, so the bottom line of Section 24 is whenever what you say turn out to be false, then it's criminal defamation.
So, and a very classical example is the young man on TikTok that constantly criticizes the clergyman, the notable clergyman.
Yes.
So how would that be considered?
The one that did what?
The one that constantly criticizes the clergyman who had mandated his people to go for a 100-day fasting as against coming to speak against the ills of bad leadership in Nigeria. And he was incarcerated under the same act.
Yeah, yes, he was incarcerated under the same act, and many others who just post something on social media and all that.
So that's false.
Is that?
So could that be referred to as?
No. Okay. That's criticism.
Okay, good.
Okay. Things are going bad. Things are going bad. You are asking that people should go and fast to turn around the situation, and somebody is criticizing that. It's not stalking. Okay. It's not cyber stalking. Cyber stalking is when the act or omission that you are committing turns out to be false. You are just saying those things to whip up sentiments, to whip up bad blood, bitterness and all that. And it's deliberate. And it's deliberate. That's what it means. So there must be a line. A line must be drawn, okay, as to through an originating process, okay, we should be able to get the court to make a proper interpretation of Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act and let it be known and clear that the police cannot capitalize on it to arrest people indiscriminately and act arbitrarily.
All right, very well said. We sincerely hope that anytime soon that the court would actually do this interpretation as fast as possible, because we cannot continue to live this way when Nigerians are not free to speak their minds, are not free to criticize, are not free to really, talk about things that matter to them. It's so very important. But let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper for today. Barrister, this is your colleague. I choose not to challenge flawed system, says Akpata, as PDP appeals Edo ruling. Why do you think, for someone who is so learned, who understands the process, who has been there for a very long time, but has chosen not to challenge the flawed system, is there something he's hiding that we all need to know?
Well, Olumide Akpata, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he didn't go to court.
Why?
Okay, for him, he felt that the system is so polarized that even going to court might not save the day.
The electoral system, that is.
Yes, that even going to court might not save the day. You know, a system can be screwed in a way that, like our own, a system can be screwed in a way that it turns out that truly, Akpata didn't win, didn't get the desired vote. Because one, the system is screwed that the electors collect gratification, stomach infrastructure, sell their votes. In your very presence, they sell it. Okay.
Which is not peculiar to us. Because if you take a look at the United States of America,
Well,
Elon Musk did so much of that.
Yeah, but it's wrong.
for the
Elon
Trump
Musk did that in Trump election. Not only them,
Yes.
the other people on the sideways that did that, indirect vote buying and all that.
So gratification is really not.
No, but it's an offense.
Okay.
It's an offense in the cybercrime in the Electoral Act, Section 26. It's an offense. It's wrong. You must not influence people by giving them, you know, something just so that you can influence their choice. It's wrong. And people do that to have money, if people are voted largely because they spend so much, okay, can you put it in your process in court as substantial non-compliance with the Electoral Act, which it is really? Is substantial non-compliance, because what you are digging in court under election petition is substantial non-compliance and how it affected the outcome. So that's what you're dealing with. If somebody has bought vote, do you have the credible evidence? They don't give receipt when they sell votes. Except maybe you have video recording and audio recording of how many of those votes were purchased actually. See, everything that was purchased. Also, you separate what was purchased from what was not purchased and prove how what was purchased affected the outcome. It's not.
That's really digging deep.
How many
forensic undertaking there.
How many days do you have to even prove your case? In this election petition that took place, where Tinubu, when they say Tinubu won, Bamidele was the only witness that was called by the APC. One person. That's the only witness that was called. Peter Obi called how many witnesses? Over 12. The other article called how many witnesses? So, I mean, at the end of the day, you just find out that if he says the system is screwed in a way, it is just so true. We need to descend to that level where politicians have gotten to before you can win an election in Edo.
But for someone who has a very strong stake with the judiciary, don't you think his influence can help change this to the favor of others, not necessarily him, but especially ensure that there's a value change?
Yes, his influence can do that, but you see, when the electors get out to vote, they forget about their future. They forget about their future. What they are thinking about, what they will get on that day. Not whether you are going to lead them well. And that is why we need informed citizenship. Informed citizens. You understand? Look at the ones who are trying to recall Natasha. The woman and the bag and everything are counting, writing. People are going there to ask for how much they will get. If they tell you, they give you, you go and get something and sign to bring somebody down. So the kind of human capital that we have in our electoral system. That's why I said the system is screwed in a way that is tough. And if you want to fight the system and beat the system, you must first of all be ready to go down low, even lower than the politicians will do. Throw caution to the wind. Go down very low. Play their game with them before you can come out and do whatever you want to change.
So even if we so much digitize our system, just like we all have apps on our phone, banking apps that only recognizes you do you think if we get to that level where people can literally, cast their votes via an app, we can still not have a solution?
Well, we have a solution. The NBA election, we all vote from our phones.
Okay.
And that is why you
And
cannot...
it was very credible.
Yes, and it cannot be manipulated. If you are losing, you know you are losing. You have to go and campaign. You have to go and campaign and keep your campaign rigorous. Every day you are campaigning. You have to campaign and show what you have done in the past. That's the only way people will... Because we're all watching the screen. In fact, the person who won knew he won from home.
Wow. Before
it was declared. Because we are seeing it as everybody is voting, we are seeing the count, we are seeing the numbers, we are watching it. Everybody, nobody converged anywhere. Nobody gathered anywhere. But we are seeing the result from the, As long as you have a secured website with the right firewalls, and you have the engineers and all those, making sure that there's no hacking and all that. And people were voting. And you cannot vote twice. The moment you try it, it will tell you that you have voted before for this person at so time. So you can't have rigging, because the digital space have covered all. That is what INEC should be in the future. INEC should be, there should be no INEC even in the future. There should be no INEC. What we should have is technology. Then we feed in this into the cyberspace, and it will give us a result. In civilized space, that's how it's done. Even in some civilized space, they use ballots and paper and all that, but they still get it credible. It's because of the kind of lifestyle that people adopt when they become leaders. That is why people who want to kill themselves do everything to ensure that they win, so that they can come back and oppress other people.
It's actually very, very sad, because if the 10th Assembly, up until today in 2025, still would be there and consider ayes and the nays in 2025, voting for a sensitive matter at this time in our history, then the question is it ever possible for INEC to maybe digitize themselves and walk up to what Nigerians expect of them? Thank you so very much, Barrister Vance Ofeli. And just to let you know, he will be here to take us on our main conversation when we return. Delta Monarch urges youths to support President Tinubu for national progress. That in a bit. Enterprise Morning it is. Please don't go anywhere.